It's What's Up Yuma Radio. I'm Alice Ferris, Development Director for KAWC and KOFA. And on today's program, it's a special Pledge Drive Takeover edition. It is indeed Pledge Drive time at KAWC and KOFA Border Radio. So What's Up Yuma Radio is taking a little detour today. Along with my co-host Jim Anderson, we'll interview our General Manager, Dave Riek, who's retiring at the end of this month. So we're going to take some time to talk about the future of independent media, his takeaways from 20 years of service here at the station, and his hopes for the next chapter of KAWC and KOFA. This is also your opportunity to show your support for your local programs like What's Up Yuma Radio with your donation. Just call us at 877-838-5292 or go online to kawc.org/donate to contribute right now. And stay tuned for What's Up Yuma Radio on 94.7 FM, streaming online at borderradioaz.org and on the KOFA app. You can also view the show on the Border Radio Facebook page or on the KAWC YouTube page. Stay tuned. What's Up Yuma is sponsored by Citrine Law, LLC, a Yuma law firm practicing criminal defense, DUI defense, and personal injury law. Information is at citrinelaw.com.
Chili from Philly. Nick Papa Giorgio from Yuma.
Johnny Show! What's Up Yuma?
It's What's Up Yuma Radio. I'm Alice Ferris.
And I'm Jim Anderson.
And we're here with
Dave Riek.
Hey, check it out. Dave, we're doing radio on TV again.
Oh, boy. It's so much fun. Sorry I don't have the energy that Johnny brings, but nonetheless, we're going to do our best.
Yes, we are doing the Takeover edition of What's Up Yuma Radio with interview with Dave Riek, our general manager, celebrating both your retirement and your history here at KAWC, but also celebrating the fact that it's Pledge Week here at KAWC, although we are really stretching our definition of week nowadays, because it's basically 2 days of fundraising here.
Oh, come on. Alice, Dave, can't we go back to the good old days when we were doing 10 days of pledge drive? Oh, my gosh. And back to back, wall to wall all day long. I am so glad that our listeners are supporting this station by making their contributions at kawc.org or on the app. So grateful that you are doing that, because we don't have to be on the air 10 days in a row, and we can do these little compact pledge drives just to remind you how much we are grateful for you and to ask for your support. Make that contribution now, either a one-time gift or a monthly sustaining gift at kawc.org or on the app.
And this is your opportunity right now to say thank you to Dave Riek for his service here at KAWC. So 20 years, Dave. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that went really fast. I was just had a chance to visit earlier with Brian Doak, a longtime colleague of mine. He's Vice President in Learning Services and Student Services here at Arizona Western College. And we were both talking about how quickly these 20 years have gone by. He's been here even longer than that and is going to be here a little bit longer. But yeah, it's been very quick. And of course, it's one of those situations I've always kid. If you're doing something you really love to do, it doesn't really feel like work. It doesn't really feel like a grind or anything. But I have always, for the last 40 years, been a fan of public radio. I've been really dedicated my life to it. And getting a chance to do it here in Yuma has been a fantastic change. As you know, I started in public radio up in Flagstaff at Northern Arizona University when I was a student volunteer at KNAU, and it's been a fun ride.
Well, speaking of where you came from, I know we all came from Flagstaff and were co-workers at KNAU. Do you remember coming to Yuma for the first time in, 2005?
2005. A colleague of ours, Paul Newman, who was somebody who had worked with us at NAU. He was part of the interactive television network that NAU had created that connected campuses from Bullhead City to Lake Havasu to Kingman and Prescott and all over the state.
Dave, that was my introduction to Yuma.
Yeah.
I was a student at NAU. Paul was the director. I was one of the ITV instructional directors. So I met people in Yuma back in, for me, it was 1991.
Fantastic. Yeah. And so Paul had gotten a gig down here as an executive on loan to help run the IT department for AWC because they had lost their leader. He'd passed away. And so Paul Paul, when he got here, immediately met Frank Preciado, who was the manager of KAWC, and Frank said, "Paul, I'm retiring." And Frank said, "Frank, it's June. Could you give me till Christmas?" And so he's rather than just 2 weeks to find a replacement, Frank agreed to stay till the end of the calendar year. And so Paul invited our boss at the time, Jim Stark, and myself to come down and kind of get do a survey of KAWC and give Paul some advice about how to proceed going forward. And so John and I came down. I remember we got to stay at the Holiday Inn, which was brand new at that time. I was impressed because in the morning when we went down for breakfast, in the breakfast area were all these guys in jumpsuits.
Wow.
And we found out that they were all from the Israeli Air Force.
Wow.
And they were here to train on I think it was the F-4 jets. And we thought, wow, this place is cool. And so anyway, we came over to the station, and it was kind of interesting. I told this story a few times before, but the day we happened to be here, just a little backstory, NPR was going from in a transition from analog satellite distribution to digital satellite distribution. And they told all the NPR stations, hey, on our new digital system, you have to have a computerized automation system because that's what you'll need to interface with the digital feed. And they said, if you don't have one, we'll give you one. So we already had one in Flagstaff. That wasn't an issue for us. But in Yuma, they didn't have one. So the day we were here for a little site tour, a representative from the automation company, ENCO, was here showing the staff how these things work. And I thought that was cool. I'm into engineering stuff, so I met the guy, and I thought that was so cool. At any rate, we walked around and we checked it all out, and we were saying, so we came up with a plan over the next few weeks, a proposal for a collaboration between KNAU and KAWC, where KNAU would help run KAWC. We would share talent. People like me and you guys would come down and help out with pledge drives or whatever needs to be done. And we also shared things like our membership database software, some of the other technical things. And especially, they really wanted me to be involved because of these technical changes coming up with the digital transformation. So the contract was set to start in January. So I come down on January, and the first day I'm here, Paul takes me to the governing board is having a meeting. So he takes me to introduce me to the governing board. And the first thing they say to me is, when are you going to serve La Paz County? I'm like, that is on the top of my priority list, it turns out. And this was 2006, and it took us till 2014 to get it done, but it was the top of my list. But the FCC has to give you permission to get a license. At any rate, but then I was kind of surprised when I went over to the studios, and I couldn't find the automation computer anywhere.
Oh boy!
I said, "Where's the ENCO?" And they're like, "Oh, man, that thing's so loud. It was awful."
Oh my gosh!
I said, "Dudes, this is not an option. We must have it, or we will not have any programming." So at any rate, that became a quick solution problem I had to get solved right away, and so it's been a fun ride ever since. And there was a lot of kind of low-hanging changes that need to be made, like adding the digital automation system and adjusting the programming schedules and things like that. And we were able to do that, and it's been a lot of fun. You guys came down. We had some great pledge drives. They told us after we arrived that we needed to move the transmitter site to make way for the new NAU research building. And so we did a quick fundraising campaign, and we were able to get some great response from the community.
Gosh. Well, you tell us that we need to do this. And okay, Alice, you know my memory is not as good as yours, so you correct me when I get things wrong.
Okay.
But
should I start now?
No. You should have started 15 minutes before the program. You know how that goes. But yeah, Dave says that we need to move the transmitter. So we started going out and speaking to people. And when you have a situation like that, the first thing that you do is you talk to your biggest supporters. supporter. And at this time, that was Pete Mitchell, who owned multiple franchises of McDonald's here. In fact, we still have the sofa in our news studio that Pete donated to us because apparently before we ever got here, he came in and didn't have a decent place to sit, so he brought his own sofa. we still have it. But we're talking to Pete, and he, of course, where do you meet? When you meet the king of McDonald's in Yuma, you go to McDonald's. He walks up and he's like, order anything that you like. It's on me. and we order, and Alice, you look to him?
I said, what are you going to have? And he says, oh, I don't eat the stuff.
Well, we did one of those things. We start to talk to him about this project, and I'm explaining the project and trying to get him excited and interested in, part of my job as the underwriting manager. And he says, so how much do you think that's going to cost? And I did what I often do. Well, Alice is more of the numbers person. Alice, how much do you think that's going to cost?
Yeah, and we had known about this transmitter move because I had talked to Dave that morning. We'd known about it for maybe 3 hours at that point. Yeah. And so I'm like doing math in my head. I said, well, Dave said this and Dave said that and this. $45,000?
And Pete replies, well, I can't do all of that, but I know a few people. So Pete became our lead on this. But what we had to do is we had to quickly put together that proposal. So we're in the car heading back, Alice.
Yes, and we're quick putting together the math, and we scrapped something together at the station. And Brenda Badia, who was our office manager and voice of underwriting at that time, she was a lot of things at the station. She helped us put this thing together, and then she also knew all of the back roads to drive to get us to an office as soon as possible.
She was a master. Brenda, if you're listening, you are a master at that road navigation.
Yeah. And let me just explain for a second. The college was going to pay to move the tower, but they were just going to move the tower and the equipment that we had. And I was looking at the transmitters that we have, and this is a little bit in the weeds, but the AM transmitter that we had is a fantastic Harris transmitter. It's the size of a double-wide refrigerator, and it runs on tubes. Okay. And at that time, I thought, I think we could do better than this. Yeah. Let's get a solid-state transmitter that'll be more reliable. And so the goal was to get new equipment to attach to the antenna once the tower had been moved. Gotcha. And so that's where the $45,000 came in, was to raise the funds to buy new equipment to attach to the tower once it's got moved. So that was the goal. And the cool thing was, after it got moved, Dennis Gilliam, the contract engineer who was hired to work on the project, turned out he was an alum of KAWC, and he's become a lifelong friend. He then took the old transmitter and completely rebuilt it, so it's now our backup. And so if the AM antenna or transmitter goes off, we switch to the old one. So we ended up with a redundant system that way. But it was fantastic and there were several people who got involved.
There were. I mean, I recall that the first person that Pete took us to Steve Shadle, and Steve was in, and then we looked at some of our other supporters, and Danny Bryant from Pacesetter Homes helped out, and I'm trying to remember the name of I think it was the Andersons. Maybe I should remember it. That's my name. I think it was the Andersons that owned State Farm Insurance at the time, who also participated.
Oh no, that was the Schumans.
The Schumans.
Yes.
There you go.
Who are still contributors to KAWC.
Awesome.
So thank you, David and Penny. So this is your opportunity, speaking of, to show your support for KAWC and Border Radio by giving us a call at 877-838-5292, or you can go online to borderradioaz.org to show your donation, or kawc.org to show your donation. So please invest in this service right now with a contribution of any amount. Again, 877-838-5292. Now, we're going to take a break in just a little bit, but Dave, I want you to reflect back on when you did first arrive here. You were supposed to be an executive on loan, so you were splitting your time between Yuma and Flagstaff. That's a little bit of a commute.
It is a little bit of a commute, and I would typically come down here on a Monday. I would check in at the Coronado. We had a fantastic relationship with our partners at the Coronado, and I would basically live at the Coronado, and then usually work about 3 or 4 days here. Then I would go back and do 4 or 5 days in Flagstaff, and then go back and forth between the two. And of course, this is how unwise I am, I thought, well, I'm already the operations manager at a radio station. I work 24/7. So how can you work more than 24/7? I'm already doing that. Well, it turns out it's when you add extra responsibility onto that time commitment, that's when it really wears on you. And after getting prescribed with some blood pressure medicines and things like that, I figured out that I can't really do two jobs, and I can't serve two masters. So after about 7 or 8 months, we decided to revisit the partnership, and I encouraged Paul Newman and the AWC folks to go ahead and create a full-time general manager position, so that you have one person whose complete job is running these radio stations here. And they decided to do that, and so I applied for it, and I came down.
Well, and you mentioned the Coronado, and I think that we would be remiss and not demonstrate our gratitude if we didn't say that while the Coronado is no longer owned by Yvonne Peach, it was Yvonne Peach and her husband Johnny, no longer with us, that provided that support and did so in such significant ways. We will tell you more about that at another time, but probably time to go to a break, isn't it, Alice?
Yeah, I think we'll come back and ask Dave a little bit more about how he fell in love with Yuma, and talk about his time here in this community. But right now we're going to take a quick break. It's What's Up Yuma Radio on KOFA Border Radio. What's Up Yuma Radio is sponsored in part by Nova Home Loans, serving Yuma County and nearby communities. Nova Home Loans offers residential lending services, including home loans and refinancing. They are also proud supporters of local community efforts and organizations. More information is available at novahomeloansyuma.com.
You are tuned to 94.7 FM KOFA Border Radio. Another sunny day in Yuma with an afternoon high near 105 degrees. Winds are becoming southerly at 5 to 10 miles per hour tonight. Clear skies with a low around 73 degrees. From the KAWC newsroom, the Thana Otham Nation is suing the federal government in hopes of stopping a 62-mile border wall from passing through their reservation. More on this online at kawc.org.
The KAWC Student Newsroom is funded by the Local News Initiative at the Community Foundation for Southern Arizona, the Scripps Howard Fund, and by generous local support. Thank you for supporting the next generation of public media. Learn more about the project and hear stories from emerging journalists at kawc.org/student newsroom.
KOFA Border Radio doesn't sound like any other radio station in Yuma. We are a non-commercial source for music from around the world, across the decades, and local artists. Our hosts are volunteers. If you would like to get involved, send an email to music@borderradioaz.org.
And it's What's Up Yuma Radio. I'm Alice Ferris.
I'm Jim Anderson.
And we're here with Dave Riek, our general manager, which is not our normal setup here at KOFA, but we're doing the What's Up Yuma Radio Takeover show in honor of Dave's retirement, as well as celebrating our fun drive today. So if you'd like to show your support for Border Radio, please give us a call at 877-838-5292 or go online to borderradioaz.org to show your support, or on the KOFA app, you can click on the donate button.
You know, I think a lot of our donors really enjoy the day sponsorship program. It's such an awesome opportunity, and what a tremendous bargain. For just $88.90, you can get 18 announcements, 10 announcements here on KOFA, another 8 over on KAWC, our sister news service. $88.90 for 18 announcements to reach all of these listeners and these viewers when we give an opportunity to run those day sponsorships during What's Up Yuma. It's a great deal, a great way for you to participate. You don't need to know the day that you want. You don't need to, and maybe you want to give it to a nonprofit. All you got to do is give us their name. We'll contact them. We'll reach out, and we'll give them that day sponsorship on your behalf. But you got to make that contribution at KAWC.org or make that contribution on the app.
This is your opportunity right now to say thank you also to Dave Riek, our retiring general manager. I mean, you're not retiring. You are about to go into retirement. But you started out here, as we were talking about in the last segment, as an executive on loan, and then decided that maybe commuting back and forth between Flagstaff and Yuma was not a great idea. So when did you move here full-time to Yuma?
We moved here in the summer of 2007.
In the summertime.
Of course, like you do.
What do kids think of that?
Well, the main reason I really was excited about coming to Yuma, I mean, I loved KAWC and I saw a lot of potential for the station here and how important having a quality NPR service would be to this community. I wanted to be a part of that. But I grew up in Phoenix, and when I came down here 20 years ago, Yuma reminded me of the Phoenix I left in the late 1970s. Gotcha. And when I left Phoenix, for example, you couldn't take I-10 from LA to Tucson through Phoenix. I-10 stopped before you got to Phoenix, and you had to take surface roads through Phoenix and get back on I-10 in Chandler. And so you'd have to get off at Buckeye and drive through all these fields. And it seemed a lot more rural at the time. It was much less developed than it is now, of course. And Yuma reminded me of that, and I kind of had a nostalgic feel for that. And I also became fixated on the notion of not being cold. Especially when it's snowing and your transmitter or antenna needs work and you don't have to put snow boots on or get a snowcat to go up a mountain. I thought, oh my gosh, wouldn't that be fantastic?
Dave, were you and Ellen, like whenever there's a snowstorm in Flag, you just high five?
Oh yeah, we love the snow days, so we missed out on those. But yeah, so what we did, and my wife is brilliant, of course, Dr. Ellen Riek, shout out. So when we were doing our house hunt, she would find houses online, and I told her, I grew up in Phoenix in a house with a pool, and I'm not moving to a Yuma without a pool at the house that we live in. So we only looked at houses with pools. So when we moved here, we backed up the U-Haul into the driveway, and we would grab a bunch of boxes and take them through the back. We had French doors in the back, and we drop them off. And then on our way back to the car, we would jump in the pool and swim to the other end of the pool, then get out and go get some more boxes. And so the kids had a ball. I think they totally understood how you play this game. And it was interesting because about 6 months later, when I think it was Stephen came home and says, "It's weird, Dad. Some of my classmates at school say that they don't have pools at their house. I thought every house in Yuma had a pool." But at any rate,
I guess that made you guys popular.
Yeah. So at any rate, I really wanted to get back to the desert. I really love southern Arizona, and I do love this community. I think it's fantastic. And you, as somebody, you guys who've worked in public radio, you know that in public media, especially public radio, NPR, and even PBS, the greatest common denominator between people who listen to public radio are typically people who've been to college, who've got a college degree, they're interested in those kinds of things. And in Flagstaff, that was fantastic because Flagstaff is a college town, and you go to a restaurant in Flagstaff and your waiter's got a master's degree or a doctorate because, they wouldn't want to leave Flagstaff after they get their degree. At any rate, of course, Yuma, the demographic here is quite different. And I kept thinking, we need to serve this audience and we need to bring this service to this community and find a way to make this service of service to everyone in the community. And that's what has been my mission for the last 20 years. And I think we've had some success, and I think we've launched some new initiatives, especially in the last few years, that I think are really getting a lot of traction in that area. And so I'm excited to keep doing that.
So as you spent some time in Yuma over the last 20 years and you got to raise your family here, and obviously your lovely wife, Dr. Ellen Riek, got to have a career here as well at Arizona Western College. What do your kids say about their time in Yuma now that they're all kind of scattered around?
Well, it's kind of interesting. We don't really talk about it that much, I guess. But I mean, it was interesting that the second Davey graduated from Yuma Catholic, he announced he was going to NAU. And then Stephen followed him a year later.
Nice.
So that was kind of telling, I guess. That's kind of a tell. Stephen's still in Flagstaff.
Mm-hmm.
Davey's now in Oklahoma City with his wife and 3 kids now.
Yay.
Yeah.
At any rate, Maggie's been living over in San Diego, and she's actually back this weekend for Father's Day. And she loves to come back, and she's still got friends here, and they hang out. But I think they liked it. I mean, one of the things I thought was fantastic, for example, Maggie got involved with the Gowan Science Academy, which was a great opportunity
excellent.
in both middle school and in elementary school. She got involved with the 4-H. We raised lambs in our backyard for a few years. That was a lot of fun. The boys had a great time at Yuma Catholic. They played several sports, and I think it was, and Davey met his future wife at Yuma Catholic, so that worked out pretty well. So yeah, I think they had a great time here, and they appreciated this opportunity. And yeah, it's been a fantastic run. And one of the things we were talking about earlier this morning, during Morning Edition, we had Mike Suba in, who's a fantastic member of this community and a supporter of the station. And one of the things Mike stresses a lot, and he's a perfect example of it, is Yuma is small enough that everybody knows everybody. Mm-hmm. You be careful what you say at any time in Yuma, because it will come back to you. But also everybody knows everybody, and everybody supports everybody, and everybody partners and works together. And we've experienced that here. For example, our story about moving the transmitter and being able to raise the funds to buy a brand new transmitter. And that was one of the shortest campaigns we ever did.
We had commitments for $40,000 within 2 days, 3 days?
Yes, 2 days.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just people hearing about a need and stepping up and filling that need. And that has been fantastic. And so I'm really appreciative to everybody that's done that. And of course, I encourage you, if you haven't done it yet, to call us at 877-838-5292 if you want to talk to one of our team members, or go to KAWC.org and click on that donate button, or use the KAWC app. You know, it's weird. I hate to say this out loud, but about a year ago or so, the radio in my car broke.
Oh.
And my wife hates that car, and she wants me to get rid of it, so I'm not going to throw any more money at it. So I have been listening on my smartphone, driving to and from work every day.
Like the kids.
The only downside of that is you can't go up and down the dial.
Yeah.
That's true.
So I used to like to listen in on our competition every now and then. But at any rate, it's been a great run.
So you too can support public radio in Yuma and La Paz counties. Just give us a call, as Dave mentioned, at 877-838-5292, or go online to borderradioaz.org and click the donate button, or you can go to kawc.org and show your support there. And you can also click the donate button on the KOFA app. Whichever way you choose to support this service, we want you to know that you make this programming possible, particularly the local programs that we have here on Border Radio. So What's Up Yuma Radio is only possible because of community support. So thank you if you're already a supporter of this show and you're already a supporter of KOFA, but now is your opportunity to do it. Just step up right now. Again, borderradioaz.org.
Yeah, and I'd like to mention our Sustainer program. One of the reasons that we have the ability to keep these pledge drives so short, we're doing 3 pledge breaks. I mean, 3 pledge shifts, 4 counting What's Up Yuma. It's because so many people have become monthly sustaining donors. This is so easy for you to do. When you visit KAWC.org or when you're on the app, you choose to make a contribution. This is DIY radio. You get to make your selection as to how much you'd like to support it. But if you want to make, say, a $60 contribution or a $120 contribution, you can do that at just make one contribution. But if you're like me, I don't have a lot of pocket change, so I like to spread it out. All of us on the air right now, we are sustaining members. We each have chosen our contribution, and if you do it, if you visit KAWC.org, make a $5 a month contribution, $20. Some people are giving us $100 a month. You can do that and just click that button, make it monthly. You can set it and forget it, and when you see that credit card bill, a lot of times you see things on your bill and you're thinking, oh my God, why am I paying for that thing? That's not how you feel. When you see KAWC show up on your credit card bill, you'll see it and you're like, that's my radio station. I use it every day. It's one of my best investments. So here's your opportunity. Visit KAWC.org or go to the app and make it monthly.
So now we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back and talk a little bit more about this whole digital thing. We think the interwebs might stick around. You think, Dave?
I hope not.
So we're going to talk.
I said it was a fad 20 years ago. But,
so we're going to spend a little time talking about the importance of independent media in the digital world. More as we come back to What's Up Yuma Radio.
Run by music lovers like yourselves, KOFA Border Radio has what you need. A non-commercial home filled with music heard from all over the world. Tune in at 94.7 FM, 1320 AM on the KOFA app or at borderradioaz.org.
What's Up Yuma Radio is sponsored by Citrine Law LLC, a locally owned bilingual law firm rooted in the Yuma community. Citrine Law provides criminal defense, DUI defense, and personal injury representation in English and Spanish throughout Yuma County. Information is at citrinelaw.com.
From KEWC News, I'm Cisco Stargazer. The Yuma Union High School District is celebrating a state award for one of its staff members. Casey Baker, a transition services specialist, has received the 2026 Arizona Educator Secondary Transition Services Award. This award is presented by the Arizona Department of Education's Exceptional Student Services Department and the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act Conference Planning Committee. Each year, only 2 educators earn the award. Baker was nominated specifically for her work in connecting students with disabilities and their families to community and state resources to support a successful transition out of high school.
As the parent of a child with disabilities, I also bring a personal perspective that helped me better understand and empathize the experiences of the families I support. I would say the biggest aspect of my job is connecting students and their families to outside agencies and resources within our community or state to help them with their transition.
Baker will be honored at the IDEA conference in August. From KAWC News, I'm Cisco Stargazer.
I'm Mike Suba, and I'm a big supporter of KAWC. You're getting a great source of information about our community, about the people that are working and living here, and you start going, you know what, this is really a valued service. And that's the great thing, is you've got a partnership here. And I'm a big believer in partnerships because the one thing I realized early on in life, I can maybe do a lot of stuff on a very limited basis, but when I start partnering up, it's amazing what we can do when we pool our resources. And so I hope that when people are listening to the station, enjoying the news broadcasts and the entertainment shows that are being presented, that they realize that you're not only the end user and enjoying what is being broadcast to you, but it can be a partnership too, where you can participate like I've discovered I can do and help get this service, enhance it, and provide even better programming. I'm Mike Suba, and I support KAWC.
Tuned in to Border Radio KOFA. We are your local public radio station that celebrates the power of music to bring people together. You can see our playlists, listen to our live stream, and listen to past programs on demand on the KOFA app. Find it at your favorite app store.
And we're back with What's Up Yuma Radio. I'm Alice Ferris.
I'm Jim Anderson.
And this is our takeover edition of What's Up Yuma because we have hijacked the show from Johnny and Victor.
Yeah. Thanks, Johnny. Thanks, Victor, for letting us sit in for a day to show our love and affection for Dave Riek.
That's right. And we're here with our general manager, Dave Riek, and we're going to shift gears a little bit here and talk about the future of public radio in the digital age. Ooh. So, Dave, what do you think? What are the things that you are predicting with your, Swami says?
Well, it's not going to be my problem here in another week. No, I'm just kidding. But No, it's been an interesting ride. And in fact, I had a long conversation with Kevin Cotto a while back about the whole digital transition. When I started at KNAU as a student volunteer, we used electric typewriters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fancy.
We didn't have any computers at all. And I remember people were very concerned. We still had the AP teletype machine spewing out reams and reams of news every day. And so I was able to be part of that. And a lot of people were concerned about the impact that computers were going to have. And I thought, it's just a tool, and it's just hopefully it'll be a way we can be more efficient. And I'm grateful that because of our ability to invest in computerized automation systems here at KAWC and at my previous station, we're able to run 2 full 24-hour, 7-day-a-week stations with 5 or 6 people. In the old days, you would need a dozen people at least because somebody had to be there 24 hours a day. And we, of course, kind of perfected that, if you will, during the COVID situation, which was just amazing that we were able to pull that off. And we basically, I ran the radio station for about a year from my house. And it was amazing that we were able to pull that off. And the college was able to help us make some extra expenditures for extra software and things like that to make that happen. But it's a great tool, and it's working great. What I think is the biggest issue right now, and we talked about this morning when Alice and Cecelia and I were doing Morning Edition, is that it's not about the technology. It's not about radios or smartphones or apps or things like that. It's about attention span. How much time does anybody have to focus on any one thing? Because we are getting bombarded so constantly from so many things. And, it's like chasing the next shiny thing. How do you know if it's really a shiny thing or just a glint of something else? And you never get a chance to stop and analyze and turn that information into knowledge, turn that knowledge into wisdom, turn that wisdom into action. All the things that a human being does, you don't get a chance to be human when you're just constantly absorbing.
Yeah, Dave, I've got a scary statistic for you. We were at the NPR fly-in, which is the Washington, D.C. headquarters. Alice and I went to the mothership to let people know about KAWC, and met a lot of great individuals there. But they were talking about the issue with attention span. So I'll tell you what today's attention span is in a minute. But Alice and I have been teaching about social media.
I don't have time to wait.
Yeah, there you go. Well played. When Alice and I have been teaching social media around the world, starting back in like 2009, I think is when we started doing this. And at the time, the human attention span was 12 seconds. And then over the course of the years, as we are presenting this, I always have to check my statistic. A few years later, it was 10 seconds. A few years later, it was 9. Then it was 7. And then with the advent of so much of the push to short form video and things like that, the scary statistic is the attention span is now 1.7 seconds. 1.7 seconds is the amount of time that you've got to get somebody's attention.
Excuse me?
Yes. Yes, that's what they said in the video content, because of the fact that you're making a snap decision. You're making a decision on a headline about whether or not you're interested in this, and you are moving on. And the power of social media is you have to slow the scroll. You have to get somebody's attention. Give them something that will slow them down more than that 1.7 just to blast past you. It's why we see so many of the posts that you see today. It's an image with a graphic image with a few lines of text, and you go to the comments. First comment is where you get the real story, but it allows you to participate in that feed. And I know our team here has been doing an incredible job with Reels. Shout outs to Alexandra Rangel and all the team, especially Kevin Cotto, who's helped produce so many of these great Reels, because they're helping do just that, provide short form information that will capture the attention and get people to pay more attention to our long form interviews and things. But it's a complex and complicated world.
Well, and I think one of the things also that we learned from a conference recently, I went to a marketing conference in April, and they were talking about the fact that by 2030, 90% of all online content will be synthetic, so created by AI. So how do you break through all of that? And that was one of the things that was really fascinating about the NPR fly-in, and listening from some of the people who are from the NPR newsroom, talking about how they were going to change and evolve the content of NPR, not necessarily to be shorter, not necessarily to be more AI friendly so that it gets ingested into all the large language models, but really it was about storytelling.
Yeah.
It was about coming back and doubling down on the fact that we're not just a news source. We're a source for sharing stories. And I know, Dave, that's been something that's been really important to you over your 20-year history here. But also, as we've moved forward, I think you've done an incredible job of investing in our local newsroom to make sure that we have the storytellers here. So what do you hope for the newsroom and looking forward for what they're going to do in the future?
Well, I do want to take a second to do a quick shout out because, Alice, you were instrumental in this. We were able to bring StoryCorps here twice, which is very rare for a station in a market this size. And that's a perfect example of our commitment to this community. And I remember the first time StoryCorps came, we had their studio set up at the new library, which was new at that time, the new main library.
Yeah.
And that was when they were launching their Historia project, which was their first effort to collect stories in Spanish as well as English. And we were so proud to be able to be a part of that. And that was just a fantastic experience for this entire community. So many people from across the community were able to be part of that. And then the second time they came, we had them set up at the Yuma Arts Center out in the parking lot behind there. And it was just a fantastic experience. And that is our commitment to having people tell their own stories, because I believe everybody has a story to tell, and they're all of equal value, and so that's what we do. I have, since I got here, been trying to do as much as I can to push resources towards the local news effort, and that's why I was kind of heartbroken last year, because I've been working on a scheme for about 7 or 8 years to try to wean us off of NPR and national programming that was expensive, so we could take more of our CPB money to spend it locally. And I was just poised. I was so close to creating a whole new full-time position for the news department using all CPB money. And last summer they decided, no, we're not going to do that anymore.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Schnarks. At any rate, but that has been my commitment, and I think we've done a great job. The Student Newsroom Project has been, I think, a tremendous success. We started this as our third summer, where we create a boot camp over the summer, bring in some new students, give them a crash course in journalism. This summer they're going to be doing a bunch of stories about the midterm elections, which I think will be fascinating. To me, it's interesting to see how they see what's going on in the world around us. And I've been trying to tell this to my team over the last several months, especially since I've been, kind of gearing towards this retirement, is that how Dave sees the world is great and wonderful for Dave, but it's not really relevant to our general audience, because I'm older than our general audience. My experiences aren't the same as our general audience across this community. We need to get their perspective on the air. So let's get people in our station who reflect that community. And we've been, I think, tremendously successful building a new team. And I do want to do a quick shout out and thanks to Lou Gum for his great leadership over several years, guiding us in that direction and being our fantastic editor deluxe, making sure that everything we produce has that great NPR quality sound. He's such a fantastic editor. And Alexandra Van Hel has stepped into that role as our new content director, and I think she's going to do a fantastic job leading the team. We're just doing, I think, a much better job than ever before of moving in that direction. It kind of was sad for me when I came. We talked earlier about Frank Preciado, who was my predecessor here. He had, for example, on KOFA, or at that time it was KAWC AM, he had a Sunday morning show, and the guy who works with Congressman Grijalva, who came by here a few weeks ago. At any rate, he works for Congressman Grijalva, but he was a student at AWC, and he used to be one of the co-hosts for a show they did on Sunday mornings, and it was like a 4-hour show Sunday mornings of all Spanish music, and the whole show was in Spanish. Yeah. And I remember he said to me at one point, some of the local stations were complaining to Frank that show was the #1 show on weekend mornings in the Yuma market, and the commercial guys were upset that they were stealing all the listeners. And he says, well, tough luck.
Yeah, thanks for letting me know. I didn't know those numbers.
But then I came here, and I was scared of that show because I don't speak Spanish, and I was frightened that some student was going to go on the air and say something that I would be responsible for, and I wouldn't be able to defend myself because I didn't know what the heck was going on. And so we didn't continue that show, and it was my own shortcoming that was the reason for that. Now we have the wherewithal to do that. Yeah. Our entire staff is bilingual.
Let's do it.
And they are chomping at the bit to do more and more of that. And we will be. I mean, Senator Pomero has been bilingual since day one. And so I think we're going to do more and more of that. And that's something that I keep telling our NPR colleagues anytime I get a chance to talk to them, is this is the future of our country. We need to be able to talk to everyone who lives in this country in whatever language they're comfortable. Yes. And so we are in a perfect community to be sort of the laboratory for creating content that bridges this gap, and we need to be on the cutting edge of that. And that is something that we can excel at ahead of even other bigger markets.
Well, we're going to take a short break and then come back for one last shot at Dave for some of his reflections. But right now is your opportunity to show your support at borderradioaz.org. You can click on that donate button or give us a call at 877-838-5292 to invest in this local public radio station. So we'll be back in just a moment. This is What's Up Yuma Radio. Achieve Human Services provides support for individuals with all types of disabilities, assisting with personal growth and development that leads to well-being and independence. Programs include job training, housing, mental health services, and substance abuse treatment. A full list of services can be found at achievehs.org.
It's sunny and breezy in Quartzsite and Parker as afternoon highs near 108 degrees. Winds are southwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour, but they could gust as high as 20 miles per hour tonight. Clear skies with a low around 74 degrees in Yuma. Also sunny with a high of 105 tonight. Clear skies with a low of 73.
Donations come in many forms: a sustaining monthly contribution, a one-time gift, even that extra vehicle you no longer need. Learn more about the advantages of donating a vehicle. You'll help power public radio. Visit KAWC.org/cars for more information and to start your donation today. And thanks.
This is Border Radio, KOFA, your passport to your global destination for music. We are your local public broadcasting station that can be heard through your radio at 94.7 FM, 1320 AM, on the KOFA app, and at borderradioaz.org.
And it's What's Up Yuma Radio Takeover edition for Pledge Drive. I'm Alice Ferris, along with Jim Anderson and Dave Riek. And Dave, the clock is like counting down. I mean, not just on our show today, but on your retirement effective at the end of the month. And so, what are some of the things that you are most proud of from your 20-year history at KAWC?
Well, I think the most recent successes have been making me the most proud, I guess. I don't know what I can say. But I think, like, for example, just in the last week, we were allowed to announce that the Public Media Journalists Association, the PMJA, recognized a couple of our pieces that we submitted for awards. Cisco Stargazer did a fantastic in-depth report about capital funding in school districts. Of course, Cisco's role is as Education Solutions Reporter, which is a grant-funded position, and we're so glad that the second year of that grant has come through, and so Cisco will continue with us at least through this next calendar or fiscal year. But we're very proud that that was a first place award, and it's for the writing part of it, which is, I think, the best part of it. I'm sure that's why Cisco's the most proud of it. And then also our Siendo Primero team got a second place award for one of their episodes, which was one that just blew my mind when I heard it. It was called Navigating Language, and it was all about what we were just talking about people who are living in a bilingual life, and there's some great segments in there about Spanglish and code switching and things like that. Kevin Cotto was the mentor on that track and did a fantastic job. If you go to the website or to the app and find Siendo Primero, check out the Navigating Language story. It is just a fantastic piece, and I would put it up against any professional journalism you'll hear anywhere. I'm so proud that is working, that the students are embracing that opportunity. Of course, I'm proud of where we are sitting right now. I should have retired about 5 years ago. I'm sure some people wish I had, but they came to me and they said, "Hey, we're having issues with the building you're in. We want to move the radio station." The original plan was to move it and then move it back, and I was like, no. If you're going to move a radio station, just do it once. So then they came up with the idea of creating this Matador Activity Center and allowing us to move into it. We got to have a lot of input on how the space was designed and created, and sometimes my team tells me I lowballed it a little bit, but I think we did a fantastic job. My big issue with that, and one of my main points of that, is we had to make sure that the radio studios and the radio facilities were adjacent to the video production, because in the media world, if you're working at a radio station, they're going to make you do a TikTok or a whatever, and if you're at a TV station, you're going to have to voice a podcast. So no matter which field you're going to work in, you got to be able to do both. And we have always, since I got here, we have been fantastic partners with the video team here at Arizona Western College. Troy and Sherry and of course Travis for many years, and so having them all be part of this facility was just a huge priority for me. And now we have these fantastic studios. The college does a great job of trying to bring students on campus to show them the college environment, and we get tours in here all the time of these 5th graders or 7th graders or high school kids, and they get so excited when they come in here, especially when Sherry takes them in and actually gets them on camera and has them running the cameras and stuff. And they have a ball, and this place is such a showcase, and I'm very proud that the college had the wherewithal to step up and make this possible. I'm glad I had a role to play in it, and I'm very proud of how that turned out.
Well, it has been really fun to move over to the Matador Activity Center and just having the people just peek in the windows.
Being
and
closer to the students.
Yeah, exactly. Because where we used to be in the business administration building, we were just really tucked away. And even people who were looking for us had trouble finding us.
If you heard footsteps in the hall that you didn't recognize, it's like, who's in here? But now it's great. I see somebody looking through the window and I'm like waving, and then I run out and grab them. Come on in, because I don't know the next student that might get the bug, and that might be somebody who's going to start here and move on. Now, we are so happy for those students in the student newsroom, so happy for Cisco, but we know that this might not be their last stop on their road. We've had so many folks that have started here and went on to other careers, like Maya and like Michelle.
Yeah, exactly. And it's been a fantastic opportunity to work with people at whatever level step on their journey and stuff. And I really appreciate all the great volunteers. Of course, when I first arrived here, we had Doc Jazz and Randy Love, who were creating fantastic jazz programming. Doc Jazz is still doing his show on Saturday nights, and we repeat it on Sunday night on KOFA, and that's been fantastic. We've had some great volunteers over the years and some part-timers, and right now we've got an interesting crew. Jess Ortiz does our Crossing Borders on Mondays and Tuesday nights, and she just knocks it out of the park, really explaining how music impacts people emotionally, and she gets really into the spirit of the music. Dave Nash has been doing Crossing Borders on the weekends for us on Saturday and Sunday nights, and of course he's been in radio for many years, and he's just like butter. He does a great job. We've got Julia Castillo and Mariana Robinson, who are working with us on Thursdays and Fridays. In fact, tomorrow they're going to be doing a special program. Actually, all day long, we're going to be doing a special Juneteenth celebration. So we'll be celebrating African American music all day long from 6 a.m. till 7 p.m. And they'll be doing the midday music and the Crossing Borders show. So it's just fantastic. Of course, Talon does Saturday mornings for us on the music side and does a fantastic job with the production every day in our studios. So we've got just a great group, and like I keep telling people, the only thing we need is more. We'd love it if more people could find time in their days to come down and figure out that this stuff is a lot of fun to do.
I think it's a great time to remind those watching now or those listening that nothing that we do is possible without you. The only reason that we are here now is that people have made contributions in the past. You might not know where your contribution will lead. Yes, you help today. Yes, your investment is doubled today, immediate return on your investment. But it also paves the path to give us the confidence to take chances on people. Let's face it, we're taking chances on people, not just programming, people that are connected to you. We hope this is something, let me rephrase that. I was on the air with Teokas and Ghost Horse once, a great programmer in New York City. And he said, and I'll quote him, "Some people say hope. Some people say wish. I will say no, because I know your heart. I know some of you will make that contribution now. Make that contribution at borderradioaz.org or on the app. I know some of you will."
Or you can give us a call at 877-838-5292. We are wrapping up this hour of the What's Up Yuma Radio Takeover show.
Yep.
But Dave, I can't let you leave without asking you one more question. What will you miss about being here 24/7, as you have said recently?
Well, I kind of I love doing new things.
Yes.
Like, for example, this show that we've taken over today. When Johnny approached me, over a year ago, and said, pitched me this idea, I thought, gosh, a show about how great it is to live in Yuma. What could possibly go wrong? That sounds like a great idea. And so we launched this coming up on a year ago, and it's been a great experiment. I think it's working. Great. I'm going to encourage whoever takes over to keep it going. Of course, I always think that anything you're doing can always be better.
Yes.
And so I'm sure there'll be some tweaks and there'll be some ways we can improve going forward. But I love Johnny's enthusiasm, and I love his commitment to this community. Mm-hmm. And so anything we can do going forward. I've had some other ideas that I've been trying to pitch. My wife keeps telling me, stop having ideas, you're retiring. But I have a couple of ideas I've been kind of tossing around. Like, I think we should be doing a Veterans Voices podcast.
I love that.
This community needs a place for the veterans to put out their perspective. I think they get taken far too much for granted in this culture. And you know, there's lots of other great stuff we can do. So I'm not gonna miss that, because I'll probably be sending people emails and pitching things to people anyway.
Please pester us.
Yes, but I think we can do this going forward, and I'm really grateful and excited about to see where these folks take this, because I know it's going to get better and better. I'm sure it will. I do want a quick shout out. I got a text from Nick Foley. He was listening to us. Thanks, Nick, and thanks for all your work helping us out as an ATC host. Thanks so much.
Well, it has been a privilege working with you, Dave Riek, and we look forward to continuing to get your ideas, apparently, during retirement. So this is What's Up Yuma Radio, a production of KAWC. We broadcast from the studios in the Matador Activity Center at Arizona Western College in Yuma. And we do want to thank our engineer, Talon Gonzalez, along with Cecelia Holland-Braithwaite, Anthony Ornelas, and the one and only Dave Riek.
You can find out more at KOFA at borderradioaz.org and on the KOFA app. Stay tuned for KOFA's Midday Music.
And on tomorrow's program, Victor and Johnny will be back in the co-host seats. Our guests will be Beverly Cade and Karen Watts from the NAACP to talk about the Juneteenth celebration. And KAWC Education Solutions reporter Cisco Stargazer will talk about the PMJA Award.
You can listen to the podcast version of our program and check out past episodes anytime at kawc.org/podcast/What's Up Yuma Radio.
KOFA Yuma is a service of Arizona Western College. We are at 1320 AM, 94.7 FM, and online at borderradioaz.org. And thanks for listening.
What's Up Yuma is sponsored by Citrine Law, LLC, a Yuma law firm practicing criminal defense, DUI defense, and personal injury law. Information is at citrinelaw.com.